Hello, hello, my friends. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my face, my card making space. And in case you missed it, this is STAMPtember video 2 for today. There were 2 releases, and this is my second video. So if you missed the first one, it will be on my YouTube channel. It will also be linked and posted in the blog post that I'll have linked directly below. Because yes, 2 STAMPtember collabs. For those that aren't aware or just need a refresher, during the month of September, Simon Says Stamp celebrates STAMPtember, and that just means that it is basically a month-long stamping party. And we've got a ton of fabulous collaboration sets from other brands that collab with Simon Says Stamp, and these limited edition exclusive sets are one and done. When they sell out, they're not restocked. However, all of these brands have wonderful product lines, and we're going to shine a spotlight on them. And like always, I will have a link to the brand, which in today's or this video's case is Newton's Nook. I will have a link to their brand in the description box below the video. I highly recommend checking them out. They have some really cute products, like super cute. Super cute. So highly recommend checking them out. I have a card I made. I literally struggled only because I wanted to make multiple cards. But like I said, this is video number 2. I'm just racing to get all the things done. It's fun. It's fun. So I made a holiday card using a new set along with some oldie but goodie favorites of mine in my stash. I will have links to everything I used, as always, in the description box below the video. My links are affiliate links. That just means that if you click on one of my links, end up placing an order, I get a little kickback from that at no extra cost to you. It's what helps pay the bills and keep the channel going. And that's enough chatter from me for the intro. Let's get into making this card. So this STAMPtember collaboration set is the Happy Paw-lidays set from Newton's Nook. And if you're not familiar with them, they focus on, they do like these little dog images and little cat images with all of their sets. Like they're really cute. They're really cute. So like I said, definitely worth checking out their product line, and I'll have a link to that below. So I chose the one little puppy dog and stamped him onto Simon Says Stamp's smooth white 120-pound cardstock, and I stamped the images with Simon's Intense Black ink, which is an alcohol marker friendly ink, and I'm using my Olo markers to color all the images in. And if you're not familiar with Olo markers, they are an alcohol marker brand. They're kind of newer. They've been around for a couple of years now. And I will have a playlist linked at the end of this video with the videos I've done so far using them. I don't have mine connected. I use mine as half markers. I call them little stublets. So it looks very weird to people, but I've got reasons. I've explained it in a bunch of videos. I'm being stubborn and holding out, you guys. And I'm okay with using them like this for now. It's been fine. It works for me, is what it is. But yeah, I'll have that playlist linked at the end of this video. And I stuck with fairly traditional colors. Other than I made him like kind of a spotted doge. He has all kinds of colors, you know? And then all the other elements, though, I went with traditional kind of Christmas colors, which for me is kind of like outside the box. I like non-traditional. That's you know, what I do. But this is just where everything went while I was coloring. I was kind of having a blast. So I just kind of worked my way around coloring in all of these images and colored the little doge, and then worked on all of the greenery and the gift. And yeah, I don't really have a whole lot of like life-changing advice to give with coloring, at least not at the moment, because I am a little bit tired. It's also because it's really late when I'm doing this voiceover. That's the main reason I'm tired. It's just got busy. It's all good. So greens, reds, and then just a smidge of white space is what I did. And I kind of went lighter to darker here, which is not what I normally do. Those that, you know, watch my videos consistently, when it comes to coloring with alcohol markers, I generally do darkest to lightest. That's just, it's habit. It's just what I've been doing. But that is another thing I kind of love about STAMPtember is, for me, you know, I'm working at a crazy pace by choice, and also using a lot of brands that, while I love them, I don't get to work with them very often, you know, because I am only one person. I can only do so much. But doing all that, I don't know, it frees it up to kind of mix things up a bit, which even for me is coloring lightest to darkest. Which I recommend though. That's especially for beginners. You have a lot more control. So after I did all my coloring, I trimmed everything out. I didn't add any highlights or anything because we'll do that at the very end because I had plans. So I'd cut everything out, and then I grabbed a scrap of green cardstock, and I'm stamping the Happy Paw-lidays. This is why it's called that. Again, I love punny sentiments. It works. So I used anti-static powder on the cardstock that prevents the embossing powder from clinging to anything other than the stamped image. I stamped the sentiment with clear embossing ink and then coated it with Simon's Detail White embossing powder. Melted that with my heat tool. And then after it was melted, I used my microfiber cloth to just rub away any of that excess anti-static powder. And then I trimmed out that sentiment as well. And then I took the same green cardstock. This is Parsley? Yeah, Parsley cardstock from Concord 9th. And I have a panel that's A2 sized. And I am blending the same color ink, so Parsley ink, just around the perimeter of this cardstock using a blending brush. And I started with the Parsley ink, and then I'm going to bring in a bit of Concord and 9th Evergreen ink, but I'm going to use a very light hand, just bringing it onto just the very edges, just to kind of deepen this up. Just gives it that, again, that kind of Christmas green kind of a look. So after I got that blended onto this panel, I wipe up the ink off my work surface, and then of course I'm going to add splatter because that's what we do here. So I've got my Picket Fence Studios paper splatter watercolor in liquid white snowflake, my go-to because it's a shimmery, fabulous goodness. Stuck that onto my little palette and then splattered that onto this background with my little fan brush. And I'm not worried about the center because it's going to get covered up. I just wanted that splatter all around the edges. And then I pulled out this Love Paw wafer die set. This came out, Simon released this a couple years ago, I think. And I was like digging through my stash and I came across this and I was like, this is perfect. It's perfect to go with this little set. So I die cut it from Simon's Crimson Glitter cardstock, and the outline I die cut from Vellum. And then I'm adhering those together because I was like, it just, with the sentiment like Happy Paw-lidays, like I like when I come across things like this because yeah, I was like, it was meant to be. It's meant to be. Love it. So I die cut that, assembled it, and then another oldie but goodie favorite. This is the Snowflake Frame wafer die. This also came out many years ago. Still available. I'll have a link to it. So I die cut the Snowflake Frame from white cardstock. And there are like also individual snowflakes in this set. I didn't use those. I used just the frame. And then I adhered it on top of the green cardstock. And the white snowflakes and the green. Love. And then I also die cut just another rectangle piece using one of the Simon Says Stamp basic rectangles wafer dies because one of them is like the perfect size for this frame. And then I took some baker's twine from my stash. I don't have a link for the baker's twine. This was like a Christmas baker's twine that I'm pretty sure it was Doodlebug that made it, like, again, years ago. And it doesn't exist anymore as far as I'm aware. But even like red and white baker's twine would look really cute too. So I wrapped that around, added tied it in a bow. And then I put my foam tape onto this frame. I thought it would just be easier this way because I got to line up that rectangle on top of it. And then I did something that I don't do very often. This is a good technique, especially if you struggle like lining things up and you're using foam tape, because foam tape, you get one shot, and then there's no going back. But adding liquid adhesive. So I put liquid adhesive on top of the foam tape after I removed the backing paper. And then that gave me a little bit of wiggle room to make sure that that rectangle adhered straight. And it just, yeah. It gives you a little bit of extra, it's like a security blankie, adding the liquid glue, which, again, I don't do very often. I'm just like winging it, and it's like wherever it lands, it's great. But I wanted that rectangle to be lined up. So I did that. I adhered my little sparkly paw heart, and then popped in the sentiment with a little bit of foam tape, and then all the other little elements I just adhered with craft tacky glue. And then my little puppy dog, I adhered again with some foam adhesive just to pop him up and give him a little bit of dimension. So got him in place, and I've got my little scene going on here. And then once that was adhered, for my card base, which is a top folding A2 white note card, I'm going to stamp the other sentiment from the stamp set, just the Merry Christmas sentiment, and I stamped that with Concord 9th cranberry ink. And then I use the same little puppy dog image, and I'm going to stamp him right above it with that parsley ink, just to finish off the inside, keeping it a little simple. So I got that stamped, and then I adhered the card front to the card base. And then I pulled out my glossy accents, and I added it just to the little berries on all of these images. And with glossy accents, I did this first instead of adding like white gel pen highlights, because more often than not, I find that the glossy accents will dissolve white gel pen. Sometimes it doesn't, but I found more often than not it does. With something this tiny, it would kind of be irrelevant. And also because these little berries and everything are so tiny, the glossy accent's going to dry quite quickly because I'm not covering, a large area. So then I carefully, because I was, impatient and didn't want to let the glossy accents, didn't have time to let the glossy accents dry, I went around and added the little white gel pen highlights and dots and whatnot to all the areas, just making sure not to smear the glossy accents. Because otherwise, normally let that dry and then you can add your white gel pen, highlights and whatnot. And yeah, drew some little lines, made the pattern or the wrapping paper. One of them gave it some stripes, and then just went along, added little dots and bits. Once all that was done and the glossy accents were dry, this card is complete. So it's kind of hard to see because, again, those berries are small, but yeah, they're shiny and raised. I don't use glossy accents very often. Again, it's because I'm impatient, but it adds such a nice little element. So there's my little Christmas card with this cute little image. That puppy dog is so cute. I love him. So, like I said in the intro, I will have links to all of the things in the description box below the video. So you just want to expand that and check it out if you're interested. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. I very much appreciate it. And I'll see you all very soon in the next video. Bye. Thank you so much to my amazing Patreon supporters. For anyone that might be interested in supporting me over on Patreon, the link to that is in the description box below the video. For everyone else, as always, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't. I'd love to have you. And here's a couple other videos for you to check out in case you missed them. Bye.